welcome back to Around Our World in 80. Alright, so we are on day 4 of our Israel trip report. We've been working on our numbers with our toddler. And this one was a very different day. We went to a city that apparently goes by like 3 different names or pronunciations depending on where you come from.
And spellings.
Yeah. So it could be Acre, it could be Akko, it could be Acre.
That's if you're not from there.
Exactly. We're not 100% sure, but I'm going to go with Akko because that's the most common one I saw.
I think that's the way they used to pronounce it in like the ancient time.
So it is a natural harbor, the only natural harbor that Israel has.
Mm-hmm.
And just the way that the river meets the ocean, it creates a natural valley, so to speak, and a natural wave break. So it was a very strategic point when it came to world history, because it was the only place you could land in Israel with a boat, at least safely.
Before it got developed.
Yeah.
But as it got developed, it became a natural harbor, and people built onto it because they noticed that right away, and so it became a very important harbor in history.
So we drove there, again, another long drive, but we ended up visiting a castle, which was built by the Crusaders. And this city just had a very interesting feel about it. From an architectural standpoint, it just felt different than the rest of the stuff that we went to go visit, and I think it was just the fact that it had been under so many different rulers and had so many influences from different societies and whatnot. So it just felt different.
It just wasn't as tall.
That's a good point too.
And it was on the edge of the ocean. It was right on the rocks.
So we went to this castle, and it, like we said, it was built by the Crusaders, and it's been turned into a museum. So we ended up getting audio tours, which in themselves, we had some people's that worked great and other people's that didn't work. We were in the doesn't work category. So you and me and my mom were like walking around with our audio thing trying to get them to go and tell us what we were looking at. But I really liked how they set it up because it was very chronological, like started with the Canaanites, and went through pretty much the entire history of the city. And so it was a lot of information. There were several different periods in Israel, just in general, in this city. And so it was a lot to take in. The major points, the Crusaders came to this port as a jumping off point to get to Jerusalem because they wanted to take it back for the Christians. Because of that, the city became very important, and there was a lot of pilgrims that came through Acre. Some people got to Acre and said, okay, I went to Israel, and then some people went on to Jerusalem. It was a safe passage, as safe as it could be back then for Christian pilgrims. The Muslims ended up taking it back.
It went through everybody's
the
hands.
Ottoman Empire, then there was the Byzantine. It was all over the place. Didn't Napoleon try to take it at one point? I remember Napoleon in one of the things.
I don't remember. Probably.
Point is, there's a lot of history. But I really appreciated the fact that we went through that museum because we basically repeated a lot of the same history in the museum the following day. So we got it twice, and it was a lot easier to keep track of everything when we were there. So I highly suggest the museum. They also had like a random like fashion photo shoot going on in the castle while we were there.
blocked off a bunch of the tour.
So we had like random fashion photo shoots and like musicians and all sorts of stuff getting filmed while we were trying to tour. That was different. Okay, after we went through the fortress, we went to the Turkish Baths.
Mm-hmm.
That was also really well done. There's a lot of video projection and narration and stories. It was mostly PG. But it was very interesting. The baths were beautiful, like the tile work and the architecture. It was very fascinating to me.
Mm-hmm.
While we were touring the Turkish baths, the Muslim call to prayer was happening, which was something that I hadn't heard yet. So that was a different experience for me as well.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how to explain it.
But once you hear it, you will never forget it.
Yeah, that's a good way to talk about it. It was like haunting and pretty yet eerie, like all mixed in together. I liked hearing the calls of prayer because it added culturally to just the environment that goes on there, like in the city. And when you go visit a city, you want to experience the city with all five senses, and that was one of them. So we went to lunch at a hole in the wall. I don't remember the name of it. I think I might have taken a video or a picture of the restaurant sign. But when we got there, we filled up pretty much like a quarter of the restaurant.
There's, I think, 6 tables.
Yeah. And by the time we finished,
for us.
By the time we finished, the restaurant was absolutely full. Like, everybody came to eat lunch there. We had authentic shawarma and falafel and hummus, and you guys had the bread. Again, another time when having that gluten-free card was super important because I was able to hand it to him and he's like, got it. Like, don't eat this. So yeah, he was like, he worked so hard, our waiter, to make sure that we had enough of everything. We didn't really know what we wanted, so he's like, I'll get you everything.
Yeah, he worked really hard to get paid is what really happened.
Hey.
But the service was good.
He was very good at his
job. He's like, oh, you're almost out of that? Here, let me get you 3 more plates.
Oh, and they also had that, like, Mediterranean salad kind of thing that's, like, tomato and cucumber. And
oh, yeah. Not my favorite.
I liked it okay.
It's fresh everything I don't like. Mixed together.
I thought it was very nice.
Yeah, it was cucumber and tomato. I like onions, but not raw.
Yeah.
And then, like, a vinaigrette.
Mm-hmm.
Not my thing.
All right, so after we had sustenance, we went to go look at the tunnel that they built underneath the fortress.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason they built it was to...
It was so they could offload cargo and get down to the ships quickly without having to go through the city and mingle with the commoners.
Well, and, you know, potentially get robbed or
there's
have an issue on the way there and that kind of stuff. So
just made it quicker.
Yeah, so they've been excavating this tunnel, and what cracked me up at first was we go to the tunnel and the tunnel ceiling comes up to about your waist.
The nipples.
On that side.
You can cut that part.
So all of us were laughing because we have 2 tall people, my uncle and Jared, who are trying to go through this. So yeah, we were all laughing because we're like, oh man, you guys have to go through this tunnel and it's gonna be hard. But it ended up, the ceiling ended up going up. Yeah, widening out. And you could see the water still going through, and they had some like video monitors where you could like learn about the history of the tunnel, and I thought it was well done.
Yeah, it's cool. Popped out right on the seawall at the ocean.
Yes, we did. That was very cool. So we stood and stared at the ocean for a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And then we made our way back via the wall ramparts. So we like kind of got an elevated view of the city and the ocean.
In some spots, yeah.
And there was also some kids cliff jumping.
Yeah, they're diving off the wall, about a 30-foot drop, 40-foot drop.
So
it was a pretty serious jump.
yeah, I think
The
they're crazy.
scarier part was the part where they were climbing up on the outside of the wall on a staircase that was only about anywhere between 12 and maybe 18 inches wide, and there was no handrails, no nothing. It was all slick, wet rock, and they were just scampering up the
Yep.
side. I'm like, if you fall, because where they jumped was not where the staircase was.
Right.
And the staircase was right above a bunch of rocks. Where
Yeah.
if you fell, you were going to get hurt
Yep.
or die.
No. I wouldn't do it. Then we went to a winery,
Smarter.
which I'm guessing that's how you pronounce it.
Smadar.
Okay. That was
Smarter.
also really cool
So if you're
because
from New York, you're good.
we went to one winery, but they ended up being closed. So we ended up
Boo.
at this winery, and they were like, "Oh yeah, we can totally do a tasting." Ended up being basically like a private tasting just for our family.
It wasn't basically a private tasting. It was a private tasting.
And he brought out like cheese and crackers and
Told us his family, told us history.
yeah, like I guess they came from Eastern Europe, somewhere, I can't remember, in the 1800s, and they worked under a guy that I guess had been a big tycoon back then, to farm the land for grapes, and they learned how to make wine.
Well, they were only grape growers until he took over the farm, and
Finally paid off the debt.
well, his dad paid off the debt, and then when he was running the farm, I don't remember how, but he got in contact with some like world-renowned,
Well, he was a student at UC Davis.
the guy.
Yeah.
And the guy was a student at UC Davis, got world-renowned in winemaking, and came back to Israel and was teaching all of the Israeli farmers how to make wine with their grapes. And so he's the first one in his line that is not a grape grower, he's a winer.
Yeah,
Not a
winer.
whiner.
A winemaker.
Yeah, it's not a vintner, I don't know what the word is.
It's okay.
Who actually makes wine, not just grows grapes.
Yep. Anyway, so it was just very awesome to get a local telling us his family's history, had their pictures on the wall. And I actually used to work at a winery in college, and my whole paper for like my senior project was about wine and how Texans make wine. And so I learned a lot about different types of grapes and what they taste like and stuff like that for like 2 years. So it was really interesting for me, coming from that kind of background, to now come to Israel and taste Israeli grapes. They're, I guess, technically like French grapes that are native to Israel.
No, they started in Israel and the French grabbed them, and then the name, what was it, champagne, is actually a Hebrew word?
It's
Champagne?
derived from, I think so. It's derived from a Hebrew word.
One of them.
Yeah. Anyway, so it was really cool to like compare, and we ended up getting a bottle of wine. Who knows when we'll crack that one open? But yeah, I really enjoyed that. And as if we hadn't done enough on this particular day, we ended up going to Caesarea. It is the summer house of King Herod.
Sounds right.
I think so. There were like 3 different wedding parties taking their bridal photos while we were touring, and it was also at sunset, so it was like golden hour and getting all the shots. There's a lot of like restaurants and shops kind of on the beach side of
The Seawall area.
yeah. But that was also really interesting, just to learn more about Herod, because that was our first introduction to like something Herod had built himself, and how, you know, his tower was supposed to be super grand. And then we didn't get to go see like the amphitheater or the
Hippodrome.
yeah, we didn't get to go see that because they had it closed under excavation and whatnot. They're doing a lot of work. Mom and Dad told me that when they had been there 5 years ago, like, it was way different. They've done
Only about
so
half
much.
the stuff they had was uncovered.
Yeah, they've done so much work. So, I think if we were to go back, that'd probably be something on our list to go back to go see, because we didn't get to see like hardly any of it.
Yeah.
What we did get to do was walk out on the seawall and watch the sunset, which is definitely a great end to the day. Mm-hmm. And then we went back to our hotel, our Airbnb, and we ate the rest of our food because we were traveling to Jerusalem the following day.
Got some sleep.
Yep. All right. Well, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope that this was helpful for y'all. And we'll see you guys next time. Bye.